the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State, and the illegal suspension of the democratically elected governor, deputy governor, and the State House of Assembly. This action is not only unlawful, but also a clear subversion of democracy and imposition of autocratic federal control over a duly elected state government. We strongly condemn this development and call on all Nigerians of good conscience to resist this brazen assault on the constitution of our country and the institutions of our democracy. The president's illegal and unconstitutional proclamation was presumably driven by the protracted, insidious political crisis in Rivers State, which culminated in the recent ruling of the Supreme Court. Naturally, we expected all parties to the dispute to follow laid down procedures and in good faith to comply or to promptly implement the judgment of the highest court of the land. We know that despite active statements and belligerent attitude of these opponents, Governor Fubara has demonstrated goodwill and appeared disposed to the implementation of the ruling of the Supreme Court. However, rather than rise above the fray, the president yielded to petty favoritism and betrayed the oath that he solemnly swore to before God and man, which was to do, and I quote, do right to all manner of people according to law, without fear or favor, affection, or ill will, and I quote. If President Tinubu had conveniently disguised his true intention in the past, his broadcast to the nation on 18th March 2025 betrayed his bias and fell far below the standard of comportment expected from his exalted office. Now, let's go to the various constitutional violations. Number one, illegal removal of a governor and state assembly. Without any doubt, the Nigerian Constitution does not empower the president to remove an elected governor, deputy governor, or state assembly under any circumstances. The procedure for removing a governor is clearly outlined in Section 188 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, through an impeachment process initiated by the State House of Assembly, not by presidential proclamation or arbitrary pronouncement. Number two, misuse of Section 305 of State of Emergency. Section 305 of the Constitution allows the President to declare a state of emergency only in the extreme cases where public safety, national security, or Nigeria's sovereignty is at serious risk. However, it does not grant him the power to suspend elected officials or to demolish democratic structures as he has brazenly done in Rivers State. Furthermore, Section 305(1) states that any proclamation of emergency is subject to the provisions of the Constitution, meaning it cannot override the tenure and removal procedures of a governor. Number three, failure to meet constitutional requirements for emergency rule. The conditions under Section 305(3) for declaring a state of emergency include the following. One, war or external aggression, breakdown of public order and safety, natural disasters or any other grave emergency threatening Nigeria's corporate existence. None of these conditions exist in the current circumstances in Rivers State. There is no war, no widespread violence, and no breakdown of law and order warranting emergency declaration. Failure to follow due process. Even if an emergency declaration were valid, which it is not, it will still require a 2/3 majority approval of all members of the National Assembly. That is at least 72 senators and 240 members of the House of Representatives. If this approval is not secured, the proclamation must automatically cease to have effect. Number 5, alternative legal avenues were ignored. If the issue was the diversion of the Rivers State House of Assembly, the President could have encouraged the National Assembly to intervene under Section 11 of the Constitution. However, even under such an intervention, the Governor and Deputy Governor cannot be removed by any arm of government except through constitutional means, as the proviso to Section 11(4) clearly provides. A manufactured crisis for political control. This state of emergency declaration is not about security. It is about power grabbing and control in Rivers State. The disagreements within Rivers State stem from the defection of 27 assembly members from the PDP to the APC, their loss of seats under constitutional provisions, and the subsequent political maneuvering to undermine the governor's mandate. Rather than allowing the law to take its course, the federal government has engineered a crisis to justify this obviously premeditated, brazenly cynical, and unconstitutional action. We find the federal government excuse of pipeline vandalism quite untenable and even laughable. The security of national infrastructure falls squarely under the responsibilities of federal security agencies and privately contracted security firms. If this issue had to do with breach of security in whatever form, the question that should naturally be asked: who controls the police, the military, and the DSS, the governor or the president? Now, ladies and gentlemen, our demand and call to action. Number one, immediate reversal. We call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to immediately revoke this unconstitutional proclamation and reinstate the elected governor, deputy governor,